Welcome to Biology Basics with SM. Our today's topic is development and structure of seed. We have discussed in our previous videos that the gymnosperm and angiosperm, that are the flowering plants, they develop into the female gametophyte, and in the female gametophyte the zygote divides repeatedly with mitosis and the zygote develops into the embryo. Basically, the seeds of the angiosperm consist of three main parts: the embryo, the endosperm tissue, and the seed coat. Along with these, we will discuss about the structure of a dicot seed, and in these we are going to discuss about the seed coat, the hilum, the micropyl, and some more parts of an immature plant, which is the embryo. Now, what is the seed coat? Seed coat is also called as testa, and it is developed from the integument. Now, what is integument? Integument is basically the wall of the ovule. This seed coat can be very thin and it can be very thick as well. It can be thin as in case of peanut, and it can be very hard and thick as in case of coconut. Now, what is the function of the seed coat? Its function is basically to protect the growing embryo from any kind of mechanical injury and from the drying conditions. Then there is hilum. On the seed coat, at any point, we can see a scar. Scar is basically a mark, and this mark can be seen anywhere on the seed coat. So, hilum is the point where basically the seed is attached to the ovary wall or the fruit. And at one end of this hilum, you can see a small hole or a pore called as the micropyl. Now, this micropyl is the same opening through which the pollen tube entered the ovule when we discussed about the double fertilization topic. What is the function of this micropyl? The function of this micropyl is that the seed is using this micropyl for the absorption of water. We will see that embryo, which is an immature plant, it consists of three more parts: the radicle, the plumule, and two cotyledons. The radicle basically is the next developing stage of embryo which will develop or convert into the roots. R for radicle and R for roots. What about plumule? Plumule is going to develop into the shoot. Then the embryonic stem. As we know that every plant has a stem, similarly its embryo also has a stem, and this stem is termed as the embryonic stem. The embryonic stem is of two types, the epicotyl and the hypocotyl. Now, what is the epicotyl? The embryonic stem above the point of attachment of cotyledon is called the epicotyl, and the embryonic stem below the point of attachment is called as a hypocotyl. And what are the cotyledons? The cotyledons are basically the seed leaves, and these are further going to develop into the seedling. Now, when there are no leaves in the seed, then how can we think that a seed grows inside the dark soil where there can no light reach, there is no oxygen, or there is no any other condition for it to grow? So here comes the function of the endospermic tissue that had developed from the endospermic nucleus. We studied in the previous topics of double fertilization that when a seed is formed, inside it the endospermic tissues are also formed, and their function is to store nutrition. So the new seedling or the new embryo which is growing it is not producing its own food by the process of photosynthesis, but it is using the stored food and the stored nutrition that is already present in the endosperm tissues. So in angiosperms, the stored food is always taken from the endospermic tissue, and this tissue is quite rich in the soil or starch and mostly in proteins. And in many seeds, the food of endosperm is absorbed and stored by the cotyledons. So, unless the seed grows up and comes out of the ground and gets proper light and proper carbon dioxide, and it is still able now to produce its own or to prepare its own food by the process of photosynthesis, till then, the nutrition present in the endosperm helps to provide food to the growing embryo. So this was the topic of development and structure of seed. Hope it was useful for you. Do not forget to like the video, share it, comment below, and do subscribe to the channel for the new notifications. Thank you for watching.